Hello and welcome to Randomer Nintendo number 77. You're probably thinking to yourself, what day is it that this is showing up in my podcast feed? And the answer is the wrong day. I don't know what day this is showing up in your podcast feed, but our schedule is all out of whack with the holidays. So here we are on insert day here, bringing you our latest thoughts on things at an unexpected time in an unexpected way. I'm Jason, and with me as always, we have to my virtual left, Angel.
Yep.
To my virtual right, keeping it simple this time, Kevin.
Okay.
And apparently somewhere lurking is Lil Jon, because we have most of his catchphrases stated. So.
Yup is one of his catchphrases?
Oh no, it's yeah. Never mind. I thought Angel said yeah, and then when you said yup, I realized you didn't. We have a doppelganger knockoff of Lil. We have little Jonathan or something. I don't know, Lil Johnny, the wrong Lil Jon. But anyway, how are you guys doing?
I'm sicker and worse than ever.
And I'm pretty tired. It's been a pretty busy week. Haven't really had a chance to really consume anything. It's just been busy.
And this is the exact type of energy everyone wants out of a podcast.
I'll apologize. I'll preface this by saying that outside of the Game Awards, and even then, I typically don't really watch the Game Awards. At most, I'll maybe tune in just to see who wins, but I'm usually satisfied just hearing the results from Jason, and maybe follow up on a clip if something Nintendo related happened. Like, of course, I'm gonna check out the little Donkey Kong musical number, but outside of that,
right?
Obviously, I'll save whatever for the segment, but I definitely have a lot more to say in the next episode. That's for sure.
Well, we might as well, unless we got one tired person, one sick person, and me chomping at the bit talk about the Game Awards because I was there. So we might as well do
chomping at the what?
Chomping at the bit.
Okay,
expression.
I completely heard something else. I heard chomping at the dick.
That is
nope.
that is what I heard, and that
nope.
Is
Bit BIT. Bit, as in the 8 of them that form NES games.
We have the recording.
I mean, go ahead, go back and listen.
That woke Angel up real quick.
Yeah, that woke both of you up. I don't think I've heard you energize that quickly, Kevin. What? But chomping at the bit. But yeah. So I guess Angel, you kind of half watched. Kevin, did you watch?
I watched the entire thing, front to back, pre-show,
thoughts,
award show. Best Game Awards in forever in terms of everything, in terms of the winners, in terms of the reveals. Kind of lost some luster towards the end there, especially for as much as that final reveal was
was strange.
Catered towards me.
Yeah.
And Angel's brother and just our entire friends. It's still like a very weird one to end on, but yeah, I thought it was a great showing all around.
You're saying it appealed to you mechanically as a game or like aesthetically as well?
As a game. The aesthetics, the aesthetics, it does look very generic, but
it does. But it's generic except it has horses and wood. Things made of wood. It's Paladins meets Apex, I guess. But they're acting like it's a new idea.
Yeah. It's funny because I definitely can sympathize and also appreciate when people are trying to create new IPs. And I did see this reveal because I was actually playing Lorcana with a friend as the Game Awards were going on. So like every once in a while we'll turn around and be like, oh, Nintendo or something. And I think because it was also muted and the subtitles were like maybe 5 seconds behind, there was that bit where, we heard Jeff Keighley say like, oh, this is going to be a big old like chunky size reveal later or something that I've been like super excited for. Mm-hmm. And which was this one. We thought it was
I think he was splitting the difference. I think it was the Mega Man reveal and this back to back, because sometimes he'd say we have a huge reveal and other times he'd say we're bringing back a legendary franchise. Like he was kind of like playing both. And they were announced, I think, back to back almost. So
maybe, but Yeah, like I thought it was a Mega Man one, and don't get me wrong, like a new 2D Mega Man, it's exciting. It's been God knows how long, but I guess not exciting for me, or at least like to hype it up that much. But that's kind of the problem with, or maybe not. It's not a problem. It's just like a reality of announcing games at a scale to at this level, this scale of an audience, because you're never going to please everybody. What could be a big game for someone could be like a drop in the bucket for someone else,
Right.
just as far as like what they're going to play. So it's like, yeah, like, oh yeah, that Mega Man's cool, but like it's not for me. And even that new game, I already forgot what it's called.
High Guard. We never actually said its name. High Guard.
It's funny because like, yeah, like it being a shooter team. Well, I don't know what you call that.
Hero shoot. Oh,
it
looks
like a
because it's like a mission based.
It looks like a PvP VE type of game, but I don't know if it's a battle royale or if it's a MOBA. Like you can't really tell.
I mean, there could be
what is kind of cool is we find out in 5 weeks.
It looked like Deadlock,
like it's out
like,
in like 5 weeks, which is kind of neat. But
yeah, it's out on my my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow, the Apex guys are really trying to cater to you with this one, huh?
Seems like it.
Yeah. Like the only thing I could think of, I guess because it looked, I guess we could I guess I could just say you mentioning that it's generic, and at least for me, like none of the designs made me think like, oh, that looks really cool. It just was. It was one of the first things that came to mind was like, oh man, I wish this had like it looks like it could be fun, and it kind of made me wish there was like an IP attached to it. That made me excited, which at the same time, it's like, oh, do we need like another kind of Marvel rival situation? Not that that's necessarily a bad game or anything. I haven't played it, but because of that like ghost mount mechanic, it made turning into a bird and whatnot made me think like, oh man, this would have been perfect for Transformers, but clearly Transformers doesn't really sell. So I mean, I'm not surprised it didn't happen. But that would have been obviously like literally exact same game. Oh, capture the flag first, get this big tank thing to blah, blah, blah. But just make it Transformers. And you could almost like substitute things one for one with pre-existing things that work. And it would have been awesome. Because I loved the multiplayer of Fallen Warfare Cybertron. Like I really miss those. I'm just sad that they're like kind of stuck in that PS3 era of hard to emulate gaming. But
I do get the vibe that when High Guard's announcement came, Jeff was very excited about what it represented more than what it was. Like he was like, can you imagine our big finale game is out at that time in like 7 weeks. Like you haven't heard a peep about it. It has been under the radar. It is from a team that has a cult following because of Titanfall and has a huge audience because of Apex. And they broke off and they're indie now. And they made this whole game in total secret, not a leak. And you're playing it in 7 weeks. Like on paper, that sounds crazy, right? Like that's very not how the game industry works.
I hate that.
And then they showed it was High Guard and everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he was more into what it represented than what it was. And that's maybe why he picked it as the finale.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the right choice.
I'm trying to work my way out of this like mental state, but I feel like there's like something I can't help. Like it just happens in the back of my head regardless, where there's essentially like an oven for like when the game is announced to how long it is before it comes out. And if a game is announced and comes out like, in the next 2 weeks, it almost in my brain just kind of thinks of it as like, oh, it's like some undercooked game or something. And that could be 100% wrong because it could have been in development for years.
You have no idea how long it's. Yeah, exactly.
But getting dropped like that, maybe because of past experience, just gives me like the vibes of like, oh, it's just being released just to kind of fail, or like I don't know, like because I guess there isn't like a long build up to the hype. There's like a sweet spot, like when the game is maybe a year out and then they kind of choke a little, kind of like a Smash Brothers. Sometimes obviously it could be too long, and then I don't care anymore. But yeah, that's why I kind of think of it like an oven. It's like, is it overbaked, underbaked?
The only counter to that is quite literally their previous game, which is Apex, which came. Well, it was it released and it got announced on the same day.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
really.
And everyone freaked out because there's like the Titanfall guys are back.
But that's the thing, like,
it's here.
Like, I'm admitting
Yeah.
and definitely saying that when a game is announced and released, it's definitely, more so now than ever, or in general, shouldn't be a representative of its quality. It's just unfortunately just like something I can't help but just have in the back of my
Sure.
mind.
I do think it's interesting because it used to be, and maybe this is
Maybe
a
the
relic of
Nintendo
how.
thing. Maybe this is how Nintendo.
Well, it's
does
not
it.
just a Nintendo thing because Nintendo does an interesting thing where they usually will.
But they're the only one
these
I paid attention
days,
to, so they're my only frame of reference.
but they have even changed their time frame. It used to be, if you look at something like Metroid Prime 4, I was in like development hell for like 7 years, and we're gonna be sharing our impressions for those listening of Metroid Prime 4, early impressions, me and Angel later in this episode. But for that, like obviously they announced it because they wanted some early hype in the Switch era. They then had to cancel it, they had to restart it, and so that was like 7 years, 8 years, which is nuts. But Nintendo generally has been pretty good about maybe they'll tell you something's coming. Like, hey, Rhythm Heaven, that's coming to Switch. Or, hey, Tomodachi Life 2, that's coming to Switch. We're not going to tell you a thing about it for a while. And for a long time, they would do a thing where they'd announce something at like E3 and it'd be out that holiday. So there's like a 6-month window. Or they would announce something and not share any information until like 2 months going into it. Like if you look at the Switch 2 early games, like February we got the first info, April we got the second info, they were out in June and July. So Nintendo has tightened up their timeline. But I think our age and our growing up with tightened up, shortened.
Oh.
But I think our...
No, I was making a bad Apex or Titanfall joke. Like
tightened up. First of all, I thought you said heightened up, and I was really confused. But this is the episode where we can't hear each other correctly the whole time. Great. No, but I was going to say that I think growing up when we did with Nintendo, where there was a very set pattern, not the current pattern of they announced in June, it's out in November, they announced in February, it's out in June, but the old E3 pattern of like the Nintendo Power Days and the GameCube era and the early Wii era, where like we knew things a year or two in advance. And it'd be like a slow, steady build throughout that year or two, or you see it, like you said, with Smash Bros., where there's a reason to do a longer marketing campaign. We're used to that. That's what we grew up with. So anything that's shorter does seem a little like, oh, where'd this game come from? Are they sure it's ready? Like, it hasn't really been known about. Like, so that Nintendo's now changing that in the last generation or so, but we grew up with Nintendo Power putting it in Pack Watch. Announced in Japan, blah, 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 blah. And then they do a preview 6 months later. And then 3 months after that, they do another preview. And then there's the review in the following publication. And like, we're used to that like long lead. So I think for us in particular, it's a bit more jarring when something's shadow dropped than maybe like kids who grew up with, Fortnite's announcing in 2 hours, you get the next season and there's Daft Punk or whatever. And it's done. Like it's definitely a quicker turnaround time. So I do see where you're coming from though. Yeah. But yeah, so High Guard is definitely one of the things. Did you guys have any other favorites or highlights of game announcements in the show?
I mean, easily Control Resonance, which is the sequel to Control, which was my favorite game of 2019 and one of my favorite games of that entire decade. I think it was like my second favorite game of that decade, only behind Hades. That Control Resonant looks incredible. It was one of the very few like reveal trailers that had actual gameplay.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah.
And the gameplay looks sick, and it looks like you're playing as the protagonist from the first game's brother. And it's melee focused instead of being a third-person shooter. So Remedy's definitely switching it up with this game. They also said that it's more of a RPG than like the first one had like RPG-ish mechanics, but like I said, it was a third-person shooter first and foremost. So that just like, yeah, that game's gonna be incredible, and supposedly coming out next year. I doubt it, but nonetheless, like I cannot be more excited for a video game.
It also had one of the cooler like on stage reveals where they had like the person suspended and like the crazy, they put like a glass cube. I know Angel, you're saying remind you of the old GameCube commercials, but they had like a person above it and it had all these patterns behind it. It is a very slick reveal beyond just the trailer itself.
Yeah. There's a couple of other ones that come to mind, but nothing that has me like
that.
Yeah, that had me like our buddy Matthew, he was streaming the show. And that was one of the ones that as soon as I realized what I was seeing, I was just like all caps in his chat saying, "No, no, no, they can't do this to me. Oh my god, they're doing this to me. Oh my god, Control 2." Like, super excited for that.
It's always fun when something that like resonates gets announced in such a hype way too. Like that's what I love about like attending these things. I mean, granted, less so the Game Awards because Nintendo's not very present, which I'll talk about later. But like, what's so fun about like Nintendo's press conferences is like when they do the build up to a reveal of something that you weren't expecting or that you love, and it's just this cool moment, you know, special in a way. Angel, did you? I know you said you were only like half watching. Anything jump out at you as things you're particularly interested in?
Jump out at me is too grand of a word.
Did anything give you a light grazing of your arm, as if it was brushing past you, and you went, "Huh, what's that?"
You don't like Barry the Badger?
First of all, it's Bradley.
Sure.
Wow. I think the only thing that got us most of like oh, that's interesting is the Tomb Raider remake. Just
Interesting. Catalyst? Tomb Raider Catalyst?
No, the remake is
that what it's called?
Oh, no, the
Atlantis
remake.
one.
Sorry, Catalyst is like the new one. The remake is, whoever you just
Yeah,
said.
the one that looks like, it's like a reimagining of the very first Tomb Raider game full of, tombs and dinosaurs.
Yeah. Sorry, it was. I thought it was very interesting. They announced 2 Tomb Raiders like that. But it was also kind of fun because the remake that you're talking about leaked like a day or two before, and yet they were still able to have a surprise by having Catalyst there as well. So that kind of worked out. But it's sort of surprised they announced 2 like that, and each one makes Lara Croft look different, which was also kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised Tomb Raider jumped out to you. I didn't know you were a big fan of the old one.
I played very few or very little of Tomb Raider in general, but what I have played has been fun. I've enjoyed them. That's
Fair.
yeah, like they have not much like on that. It's just like it was just cool seeing it realized in that way. It felt simple to grasp that it's like, oh yeah, this is like simple and fun. I don't know how heavy it is going to be on platforming, but it looked like something I'd be willing to try.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of curious that Bradley the Badger didn't get your attention at all. To Kevin's point. Do you even know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. For those who don't on the internet, this was actually one of my highlights.
I don't know what it was about it, but it just didn't, I guess.
That's fair. It doesn't have to. Yeah, but for those who don't know what we're talking
Sometimes
about,
there just isn't a reason. They just didn't. It gave me like, is this? It kind of felt like oh, it's like a Deadpool. Not that that's inherently a bad thing, but
I mean, a little. I viewed it more as
I think it's the
Gex or a
characterization of the
Conker.
character more than anything that like maybe turned me off of it than like the game design itself. I don't know. I don't know. Something about it just didn't make me feel interesting.
Well, real quick, for those who don't,
for a game that didn't show anything quote unquote original.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, Bradley the Badger is the new game from David Soliani, who was the Mario and Rabbids director at Ubisoft. He was the guy, if you recall, when Mario and Rabbids was first shown off at E3 at Ubisoft's press conference by Miyamoto. He was the guy they cut to in the crowd and was in tears because he was so happy that a project he worked on, Miyamoto was now announcing. And so it's his game. And then interestingly, kind of a crazy get, the lead designer and co-writer of Red Dead Redemption, the two of them together are making it. But yeah, it's basically, I mean, the vibe I got from it was like Gex meets Conker, maybe not as vulgar, but it's basically this like send up homage parody, I don't know what you want to call it, to video games, like modern video games. Like you dip into like a Bloodborne sort of game, you dip into like a The Last of Us sort of game, you dip into all these different nods and references to modern games, but you're in a 3D platformer where it seems like this Badger is able to also create his own platforms using what amounts to like empty like objects with no textures on them. Like it's just like the checkerboard of like a blank Photoshop. So yeah, it looks like it could be cool. And I mean, I liked what he did. He seems like a very nice guy, Soliani. I like what he did with Mario and Rabbids. So I'm definitely interested in that myself.
Oh, it's tied to that person.
Yes, it is.
Doesn't change my thoughts, but I guess that's interesting.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And actually, see, this is one of the perks. So you guys watched remotely, and I watched in person. This was my 9th year attending, and say what you will about like the ever evolving state of the show. Like this year was a very good year for sure, but obviously it's had its peaks and valleys. I do always enjoy going, and part of why I enjoy going is, I mean, you guys know I'm a sucker for like spectacle and being in the thick of things I'm interested in, particularly when it's game industry related. But one of the things I always like is like you're in it, like you're there, and the industry folk are there, and the creators are there, and like it feels more personal and more connected. I don't want to say it's like parasocial than there, but like it was cool. Like in the case of like David Soliani, I bumped into him after the show, and I was able to congratulate him on the new game, and he seemed sort of actually kind of surprised that like someone called it out to him. So that was cool. Yeah, like cool moments like that. You know, every year there's a chance.
It's a human moment.
Exactly. A human moment with this guy who lots of people are just like, oh, it's the Mario Rabbids guy. But no, he's this dude who was just happy to hear that someone was excited for his game. And I saw, you know, he was on his socials saying the same sort of like, oh, thanks so much for support and stuff. But it was cool. And yeah, typically when I do go, it's actually interesting. This is the first year that I didn't bump into Phil Spencer. In fact, Xbox didn't even have much of a presence at all, come to think of it, at the show. Like there's, I think, a single Game Pass commercial.
That's just Microsoft and Xbox in general. They just don't have a presence in anything anymore.
Yeah. I mean, they got outsold. I don't know if you guys saw the November sales numbers that came out from Circana yesterday as of this recording. Xbox got outsold by a thing called Next Playground, which is basically an Xbox Connect in a box of its own made for little kids to do like active video gaming. And yeah, right. And it completely outsold the Xbox brand. It is the number 3 selling system in November. It was a crappy November for video game sales in general. Like this is the lowest hardware sales and physical software sales in 30 years. You could probably blame the economy for that. But interestingly enough, Xbox is nowhere to be seen, and this Next Playground actually crept up. So you're right, Kevin. Yeah, Xbox is having a weird moment. It was weird when they showed the one Game Pass commercial during the show. A couple people in the audience just randomly laughed. I'm not sure why. Like just the concept of Game Pass, like that thing. So I thought that was a little weird. But that is kind of one of the other things that's funny about like kind of why I like going to the Game Awards is like there's an energy there that you don't get at home. Like on the one hand, if you're at home, you get a better view of everything. Like if you watch at home, you obviously get to see the footage clear and in 4K and right in your face, not from 1,000 seats back. You don't have camera cranes blocking your view. You get to see, I don't know if you guys noticed the flute guy, the meme that is flute guy. He had 8 different flutes or something like that during the Game of the Year montage, including a homemade PVC pipe that he turned into a flute. I had no idea any of that happened until I got home and saw it on the internet, even though I was physically in the room. But so you do lose that, but you do gain like the energy of being there, and you get weird stuff like the people laughing at the Game Pass thing, or you know, you kind of get a very quick temperature read of what games like are most interesting to people. Like what do they pop off for, and what do they not get excited for? Like this year, both Star Wars announcements, Fate of the Republic and Galactic Racers, got big cheers. Leon being in Resident Evil Requiem, even though it was leaked a couple days prior, that got a big cheer. Kevin, your precious Derby Girls winning best mobile game got a huge cheer. Divinity and kind of surprisingly, Forest 3 got big cheers. Mega Man got a big cheer, although it's funny because this is the exact same theater where in 2014, I think, at E3, Nintendo did the Smash Bros. Invitational, and they showed the final Smash for Mega Man for the first time, and the audience completely lost their minds and were screaming like, Mega Man! Like, if you go watch the replay, there's a guy screaming that very clearly. Now, at an actual Mega Man reveal, not the same energy. People were into it, but not at the level they were at that Smash tournament in the same theater. It was an interesting contrast. But yeah, you get kind of... You could ride the wave of those emotions because, you know, you get the excitement of a Mega Man, but then you also get kind of probably what everyone at home was thinking, but almost like a real-time confirmation you're not crazy. They show Mega Man. People are like, oh, Mega Man, that's cool. And then they show the 2027 release date, which is very far away for a 2D game. And everyone, like literally there are a couple audible, near me when that came up. So it's kind of funny to like ride that wave of emotions when you're physically there. It was also funny. Every time Jeff Keighley would rattle off those rapid fire awards that have no speeches, which, this show is basically a marketing exercise, and then they cram a bunch of awards into like little segments where it's like 5 awards at once, right? And every time he would start, there's like this low hum, murmur, kind of chuckle from the crowd, because everyone's like, oh, here we go, the reason we're here, actually. And then the second Claire Obscure was mentioned as a nominee, the murmur and laughter would get louder because everyone knew it's sweeping everything. There's no point, like, why even do this? It's going to win, clearly, and every single time, except I think when AST took one of them, or maybe when Hollow Knight took one and Jeff Keighley even called it out. It was like, see, you won something. That kind of proved the crowd wrong. But it's just funny to be in those moments and have like that communal experience in the room with people. So I always enjoyed that. I also just enjoyed the spectacle of it all, right? Like E3, I really liked E3 because it was like the big video game get together and there's a lot of spectacle and pizzazz and stuff. And it's gone, obviously, but the Game Awards are kind of that, minus actual games you can play and a lot of swag. So I guess it's not really like E3 either. But yeah, like I'm the guy who loved the press conferences, who went to Xbox's showcase just because I could one year. So it was nice being in, like, it is nice for 9 years now, like going to the Game Awards and having that spirit of it. And the spectacle just keeps getting bigger, honestly. Like I know we were kind of talking about with Control how they had that cool stage setup, but it seems like they're going bigger and bigger. We had 2 instances of people dangling above the stage for Control and for Divinity. We had obviously musical performances. Evanescence was there, the orchestra, Miss Piggy with her video game song. But we also had like a lot more flashy moments. Like the budget for this thing keeps getting bigger. There was the Mega Man intro. There's Diablo's whole little lighting stunt. There was, like I was saying, the Control thing. There was the entire Street Fighter movie cast, just one at a time, coming out one after another. There was even smaller scale, like you mentioned, Tomb Raider Angel. They did a cool like stage visual for that. They did one for 007 First Light. They did one for Resident Evil Requiem. Like, it just felt very theatrical and spectacle-y in person. So that's always something I enjoy too. It's just kind of the being surrounded and all the senses, the crowd reactions, the visuals, everything. So, and then getting to talk to someone like David Ciliani. So yeah, that was kind of my, I know I sort of riffed on it from Bradley Badger, but that was kind of my, why I like going to the awards and one of my highlights for sure. But if we are talking things that stood out or favorite games, are there any others you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff absolutely fucked Miss Piggy, right?
That's the implication. Yes. And to be fair, Jeff Keighley, has anyone heard anything about any relationship that man has?
Nope, just him and Miss Piggy.
Exactly. Exactly. That seems to be it. He's a very private person, but Miss Piggy, if she's gonna make it public, he's gonna ride with it. Yeah.
I
guess, there we go.
Kermit just wasn't using that cucumber to I can't do this.
Wow. I mean, that good effort, I think. I got cucumber. Yeah, no, he was, I feel like Tadpole might have been more in the direction you were trying to go, but anyway. Yeah, no, Miss Piggy, that's kind of her thing, though.
Jeff is porking Miss Piggy. Huh?
Not to say Miss Piggy gets around, but like that's kind of a running thing with her, like on the Muppet shows, that she's always like kind of flirting and suggesting things with the guests. Speaking of which, the Muppet Show is actually coming back for a one-time special in March, produced by Seth Rogen. I feel like I've seen the equivalent of an entire episode of the Muppet Show over the years at the Game Awards, but it is now coming back in an official capacity in a couple months. So that's cool. I like the Muppet Show. I feel like the Muppet Show, plus maybe all that, is what made me a fan of stuff like SNL, because it was basically like a kid-friendly version. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of favorites at the show, was there any other games that jumped out to you guys? I have a couple that I thought were kind of interesting. I'm gonna take that as a no.
Nope.
All right. Well, I don't know if this counts because it's not a game, but I was very happy with those 30 seconds of the Mario Galaxy movie. Like, I don't know if you guys remember last episode. You must, because I went on such a tangent about it, but I was saying how I didn't feel like the rush of emotion or hype when I was watching the first trailer for the new movie like I did with the first movie. And I don't know if it was because of the setting or the crowd that was surrounding me who was very into it or what, but for those 30 brief seconds where they showed footage of the Mario Galaxy movie, half of which we already saw, only half of which was new. But for those 30 seconds, the emotion was there. Like, it felt like the first movie again, and that was a nice moment to be like, yeah, this is so cool. Like, I was getting really like into it. But if we're talking strictly games, what is funny to me is almost all my standout games are ones that haven't been announced for Switch 2. Like, one of the through lines this year that I appreciated is how present Switch 2 was across the lineup of announcements, probably more so than any single year of Switch 1. I mean, even in the days when Nintendo did a big reveal, they and maybe a handful of other games were in the show. But this year, I counted over a dozen instances of Switch 2 logos popping up for games. And it was like a healthy mix of them being, ones we know about, like Resident Evil or Lego Batman or 007, now featuring Lenny Kravitz. But Switch 2 was also present for other reveals, or was a reveal in and of itself, like with the Switch 2 version of Pragmata, but also, obviously Mega Man, that Claymay game out of this world that looks kind of interesting. Orbitals as a Switch 2 exclusive. Plus, we got confirmed ports of like Phasmophobia and South of Midnight, and I think they said Warframe at one point too. So there's a lot of Switch 2 stuff, but ironically, as the games that stuck with me most are not yet confirmed for Switch 2. So Bradley the Badger's one. I imagine it's coming to Switch 2 because, David Soliani, he has very close ties with Nintendo. He is a huge Nintendo fan. Like, I'd be shocked if he didn't try and make it happen. As of now, there are no consoles confirmed for it, so it's not like it's Switch 2's excluded. It's just they haven't announced consoles yet. But next up, I was also really into the idea of Star Wars Galactic Racer. I posted something to this effect when they announced it, like right when they announced it. But giving the former developers of Burnout and Need for Speed the keys to Star Wars pod racing is such a smart move that I can't believe didn't happen sooner. Like, in hindsight, it's like, oh, of course they would be a great fit for that. And I do love futuristic racing games, so that's 2 automatic pluses for this one. I have to imagine in due time it too will come to Switch 2. Star Wars Outlaws is already on Switch 2, and that seems to be doing, I mean, it's been on sale for Black Friday. Yeah, actually really, it's like $30 right now, but it's a really good port. It's very well received. So that can demonstrate a Star Wars audience on Switch 2, and Nintendo consoles have got Need for Speeds and Burnouts. Even I think Paradise Remastered's on Switch 1. So like, it's doable. Like, I think Star Wars Galactic Racer could come to Switch 2. It just isn't there yet. But that one is one I'm keeping an eye on. Third, on just a conceptual level strictly, I really like what Bandai Namco is doing with Ace Combat 8. Like, it seems like they're looking at like the success of Top Gun Maverick and realizing there can be more than just the actual flying in jets that you can build a game around. Like, obviously that's going to be a big part, but the day in the life segments on aircraft carrier, that seems like a cool way to like more fully immerse you in it all. And I have to imagine it's going to have kind of a melodramatic story all of Top Gun to match. And Ace Combat 7, that was on Switch 1. So 8 coming to Switch 2, maybe that's reasonable. I don't know. And lastly, we already kind of talked about Mega Man. I am intrigued by what they're doing with Dual Overdrive, and I'm not saying the final product's the quality of the final product will be the same, but the reveal did kind of remind me of Mighty Number 9. And here's the thing. As a backer of that game's Kickstarter, the promise and the initial buildup of Mighty Number 9 was cool. It was fun. It was a neat idea. And then it fell off a cliff because of the team not being fully formed, the lack of funding, whatever. So or not good direction, take your pick. So having a full-fledged, fully funded development team at Capcom making a proper new Mega Man game, but kind of dipping their toe into some of the communal aspects of what a Kickstarter approach would be is kind of cool. Like, they didn't say it at the Game Awards. I don't even know if you guys know about this, but Capcom is actually running a contest right now through the end of the year where you can design one of the new Robot Masters. So the pitch is that one of these bosses already has kind of like a base design centered around a suction arm cannon, and they want fans to submit designs on top of that kind of core template, and then the winner will get theirs in the final game and their name in the credits. So say what you will about announcing a size-growing 2D Mega Man game that looks nice graphically but isn't like blowing anyone's socks off. Say what you will about that all being announced 2 years in advance, but at least they're kind of leveraging the fact that people already know it's coming in some fun ways, like being able to put a fan-created character in there and stuff. So That's kind of how it reminds me of my number 9. But you know what the whole reveal also reminds me of is that one Game Awards where Sega announced they're bringing back Shinobi, Virtua Fighter, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, and Altered Beast all in one go. That was back in... Angel, what year did you go with me? Was it 23 that they announced that, maybe? Like 2 years ago? That sound right?
Mysteries.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, when did it go?
Well, I think it was
Honestly,
23. I think, God of War was up for awards. So what year was that? Would that have been?
I don't remember. Wait, no, like the last time I went?
It might have been 23. It might have been 23. It wasn't last year, so it must have been at least 2 years
The
ago.
last time I went with you, there was some kind of Egyptian VR thing.
Oh, outside? Yeah. Okay, so it was 2 years ago because Meta, Facebook brought that display twice. And then not this year. So yeah, it would have been 2 years ago. But anyway, that was the year that Sega did this whole blowout. We still haven't gotten Crazy Taxi, but we did get Virtua Fighter. We did get Shinobi. Slowly but surely, they're staying true to their word. But this Mega Man reveal, like being this far in advance, kind of reminded me a little of that. And then this other through line I noticed this year is that Capcom is like all in on the Game Awards for many of its IPs, sort of like Sega did with that mini blowout a few years ago. And to be fair to Capcom, they're doing a much better job because they're showing actual content. Like Sega announced like 6 games in 2 minutes. Capcom, we got the big Resident Evil twist that all the gameplay we've seen thus far for Requiem is only half of what the game will offer. We got Pragmata coming to Switch 2. Of course, we got Mega Man. Each of those is like a full-fledged reveal, not just a quick montage. But Capcom like put a lot of oomph into their showing this year. They even had a commercial for like a sale of existing games. It wasn't just a commercial. It's like they did a whole skit. Like it was a pre-recorded thing, but Capcom felt like they were treating the Game Awards how Sega relaunched themselves at the Game Awards a few years ago, which I thought was kind of interesting. And Mega Man just being kind of the example of that. But on the flip side, one company that's not there that is very noticeable is, of course, well, they're there, but not with any real presence, Nintendo. It has become apparent as someone that goes every year because I'm hoping for Nintendo stuff that Reggie was really the glue that held Nintendo's close relationship with Jeff Keighley together. And now that Reggie's retired, we've seen Nintendo kind of slowly drift more into the background. Like they're still on the show's advisory board. They still use the Game Awards as a marketing tool for what's in the Switch lineup. Like if you go to Nintendo.com right now, there's little banners for the award winners. There's sections dedicated to browsing the nominees. And of course, they still participate in the segments involving the nominated games. Like Angel, you mentioned, Pauline's voice actress singing the Donkey Kong Bonanza song during the medley for Game of the Year. So Nintendo's still offering that, which is a kind of fun repeat of what they did with Mario Odyssey in 2017. But Nintendo doesn't really use the Game Awards as a platform like they used to. Like for everything Capcom was doing, Nintendo was not doing essentially. Like it was only a few years ago they would do, reveals like the Bayonetta spinoff or Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which even then were like an arm's length from what Nintendo itself would announce. But these last few years, we at most get a commercial that's just highlighting some games relevant to this particular core gamer audience that watches the Game Awards. In fact, a game that would have been perfect to get some sort of big update or blowout during the show, to my point that Nintendo just doesn't want to use this platform, they gave it 7 seconds in a commercial sizzle reel, and that was the Dusk Bloods, which is a game literally being developed by Game Awards royalty from software. And Nintendo's like, yeah, we'll give them 7 seconds and then just do it in a direct later. So, obviously Nintendo doesn't think the cost justify the means here. I read the other day, Kotaku reported a 60-second trailer can run for nearly $500,000. It costs upwards of $1 million if you want a 3-minute segment, which makes you wonder how much something like the Control reveal must have cost with the stage thing. Although I'm sure it must be subsidized on some level if it's like the editorial side of the Game Awards, i.e. Jeff Keighley likes the announcement and wants to do something. But it does make me wonder, like, if Nintendo maybe helped foot the bill for Orbitals, which is that Switch 2 exclusive co-op game they showed. They would give a chant. Nintendo let everyone hear the Switch 2 snap echoing through the hall. But it seems like not the type of game that has $450,000 to spare for a trailer. But then again, who knows? Maybe Nintendo didn't put the bill on that one. My point is, minus however Orbitals got there, Nintendo seems much more content doing Nintendo Directs when they have full attention and control, and that means the downside is that we don't get cool moments from Nintendo at the Game Awards anymore. For every moment where there's like Mega Man being revealed with an orchestra playing his theme and him emerging out of a capsule and it's his silhouette, and I was like, ooh, like we get nothing for, you know, one of the biggest game names, if not the biggest names in gaming, Mario. 40th anniversary this year. There was nothing to celebrate his anniversary outside of that very brief Mario Galaxy movie clip. For the 35th anniversary, they had a performance by the London Philharmonic. They filmed it at Abbey Road, as in like where the Beatles recorded. And for the 40th, we got nothing except coincidentally a giant Mario 40th anniversary like digital billboard that was running a block over from the Game Awards next to Staples Center. Like Nintendo just didn't. For what it's worth, the ad is actually pretty neat. And Angel, I think you've seen it along the 405 too, right? Like the timeline ads they're running right now.
Actually, it's pretty neat. And if you haven't seen it, it's
Yeah.
actually worth checking out in person.
Yeah, it's so they're also running them in Times Square and probably other places around the country. But basically, for those who haven't seen it, most of the people listening, I'm sure, it's a series of like postcards with key art from each major mainline Mario release, along with a tagline of like 40 years of blank. So, you know, they show like Mario 3's raccoon suit and it says 4 years of powering up. They show Mario 64 key art and it's Mario twirling Bowser, you know, by the tail, and it says throwing down 4 years of throwing down with Bowser. Or Mario 3D World has like Cat Mario and says 40 years of staying curious, that sort of thing. There's even art for Mario wearing his Flood backpack from Mario Sunshine, which is something I never thought I'd see on a billboard in the year 2025, but here we are. But yeah, no, my point is though, clearly, Nintendo's wanting to market and celebrate Mario's 40th. The movie's a huge part of that. We'll see a ton of merch for that. We got the new Yoshi game, the new Mario Test, Mario Wonder, Switch 2 editions coming. They're running billboards, something they didn't do till a year or two ago, as we've talked about before on the show. And yet, because they don't really, quote, do the Game Awards anymore, we got nothing celebrating such a video game icon at an event all about celebrating video games. It was kind of a bummer, albeit one not at all unexpected, but like as a Nintendo fan sitting there, I would have loved if Nintendo leaned in a little on the Game Awards again, or as a Nintendo fan watching from home, you know, regardless of if I'm physically there. So that was kind of, for everything that I was like, wow, Capcom's going all out, it just kept reminding me how Nintendo doesn't, you know, like seeing Mega Man being like, that could have been Mario, wrong M, right idea, was kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little. I don't know.
I wish I could get excited about the Game Awards again. I feel like when it was new, I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and undoubtedly Nintendo's presence is definitely a big part of it because obviously they would have more of the games that I'm interested in. But there's always been the dichotomy of award show versus like E3 press conference that I never liked.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never liked that both of those had to exist together, and the fact that you kind of had to have both. Like I kind of wish the award show was just the award show, and you know, an announcement, you know, Palooza with an announcement Palooza. Like I don't know. So something about that. I wish I could put it to words. Maybe I just need to put some more thought into it and I'll come back with maybe something that explains my feelings towards it, but it always just rubs me the wrong way because you do hear like impressions from the general public that, and I've heard many times like, oh, I just watch it for the trailers, or I could care less about the awards, and maybe that's it. Maybe the fact that I really care about like the recognition that I feel like games deserve and that kind of stuff. Because, you know, you have like the DICE Awards, you have the like Interactive Media Animation Awards. Like there's a whole bunch of other award shows, not just the Game Awards. But the Game Awards is meant to be like, you know, our equivalent of, I don't even know if it's supposed to be like the equivalent of the Oscars. Maybe it's like its own thing. That's why it has these awards.
Jeff Keighley keeps saying it's the Oscars, but I always view it more as a Golden Globes or almost a VMAs, like MTV VMAs.
So do those also have like a bunch of trailers for upcoming things and reveals?
No, but they have music. The VMAs, and half the performers at the VMAs are performing stuff that's new, and half the performers are performing stuff that's actually relevant to the awards on hand.
And that, I think, is fine. Just like how sometimes, you know, the Game Awards will have a performance of sorts or something. Or, you know, or like a deep dive into a creator or a studio. Like, I love those because it's literally a celebration of the games, and you can argue that revealing new games during the Game Awards is a celebration of it, but I feel like, to me personally, it's not the right time for that, especially because, like I pointed out, it's very hit or miss. Like, I could care less about Divination 2 or didn't even know there was a sequel to be had when that came out. Obviously, point exactly.
You mean you're not excited for Total War Warhammer 4000 crossover game with David Harbour as the voice?
Yeah, like...
No? Nothing?
I kind of just wish it was just one or the other. And maybe it's too late for that to happen with this. Like, I almost kind of...
Oh, that ship has absolutely...
Yeah, like there's a little bit of me in my life, like, is there any hope for me to fully embrace it? I guess probably not at this point, but...
But to your point, there is like DICE. There is the one that GDC,
and that's what those other ones are there for. But obviously, it's not like the one that has, I guess, the game of the year that everyone is paying attention to. It's like oh yeah, like the one that the Game Award gives it to. Feels like that's like what the general public thinks is just like the game of the year. Not that there's anything else wrong with their choice, but
it also. Weird little thing. It also kind of makes a difference that the Game Awards are in the same year as the awards they're giving, and all those other ones we rattled off are like next year. Like part of the Game of the Year thing, when companies want to slap that logo on the box, is holiday sales. Like Claire Obscure's
like Best Buy
player count surged after the Game Awards.
Yeah.
So if DICE wanted to be a serious contender, you got to do it when the companies want to market their games, which is December, not February.
But,
Yeah,
like if you look at the listing for all the games nominated at Best Buy, like Donkey Kong Bonanza says like Game Awards nominee, blah blah blah,
best family game.
But the thing is, like, maybe it is for the best. The Game Awards is playing the role of maybe not the Super Bowl, but like the public facing, not approachable. What's that word for easy to get into, like accessible? I guess like
accessible,
like Game Award presentation showcase where, like if there was, they don't have one, but like if they had an award for like best character animation, hypothetically speaking, like I probably wouldn't give the Game Award one much of attention versus one from DICE or something like that.
Yeah,
like one feels
it's like I said, it's like Golden Globes versus Oscars, it's VMAs versus Grammys. It's
there you go. So I guess I just don't know how I feel about the space it takes up. I mean, clearly it's more apathetic than anything, but
it's interesting though because it's somehow like whatever marketing palooza this show is, it works. They're up again in viewership.
Why are the seats so expensive?
Well, that's the thing. It's now a huge thing. 171 million live streams of this thing.
The fun to book.
That's why the seats are so expensive. I mean, honestly, the seat I got, which was the back of the main floor, wasn't that bad. It was like 80, including fees, which is not horrible for like a production of this quality.
That's not too bad. That kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the fun to book ratio still kind of depends on a lot of factors, but.
Yeah, but to
going by myself,
to the Game Awards credit,
at least pick me for that would be rough. For $80 if I went by myself.
Oh yeah, sure. But like, I mean, all the things I was rattling off of, like being in that element and like the spectacle, like that hasn't mattered as much to you in terms of where your interest lies. It has for me. So already the ratio of what's like my ratio of yum to buck or fun to buck is way higher on this thing than yours would be. Yeah. But it, we're kind of. We're selling the awards a little short because, the awards themselves get a little buried and it is a marketing palooza. But there is a trend I noticed at the show in every facet of the show that kind of speaks to what the show does. And it's arguably what Jeff Keighley says the show is about, which is it's kind of a celebration of just video games as a concept, and it kind of reflects on what's going on in video games. So he doesn't focus as much on the awards, and I'm not trying to defend the pitfalls in announcing 5 awards in a 1-minute stretch with no acceptance speeches. I still find that kind of silly. I understand for time reasons. But no, my lower back tattoo is just Jeff's face. Yeah. No, but it's like as a marketing, as a thing that's just like video games.
The wrong one.
The tattoo artist just got really confused. But they do basically the same thing. One's just a nerdier
Is Ryan
field.
Seacrest still
No, but the
relevant?
what?
Is Ryan Seacrest still alive?
Yeah, he still hosts American Idol. He still hosts his morning radio show. American Idol's back. Yeah, it's been back a few years. He still hosts a bunch of stuff. He hosts a Wheel of Fortune now after Pat Sajak retired. Why do I know this? I could not tell you.
But
the point I was getting at
is the thing with in the barrel.
Yeah, you don't know the longtime host of Wheel of Fortune. Who's the longtime host before he passed away of Jeopardy, Angel? Pop quiz. And you have to answer it in the form of a Jeopardy question.
Who is David Novak?
No. What? No, Alex Trebek.
I'm curious, though. Who is David Novak?
Who is David Novak? Yeah, where'd that name come from?
I don't know the top of my head. Let's see. David.
You said it.
No, it was just... Oh, so that is a person. Executive.
Who is it?
Let's see. He's an American businessman, philanthropist, CEO of Yum Brands. Do I know that?
Well, hold up. Wait. Mr. Yum to Buck ratio that you are. The guy who coined Yum to Buck just happens to know the name of the former CEO of Yum Brands.
PepsiCo.
Angel, are you in cahoots? Was Yum to Buck all these years we've talked about on the podcast? Were you getting kickbacks from the Yum brand of families to say Yum as much as possible to like subliminally plant it?
But I'm trying to figure out why I know David Novak. Like, I don't necessarily recall doing a deep dive into the companies they own, which are very relevant to me because I love Taco Bell. Actually,
I don't know why the way the companies Yum brand owns are very relevant to me is an amazing sentence.
Well, because
they bought Habit.
Yeah, because I could see the thread. The thread is just very long and tangled that I can't see how I stumbled upon it. Like, there must have been...
pop quiz, Angel. Who owns Yum brand? Don't look at the webpage. Just off the top of your head. Who owns Yum brand?
Like, right now?
Yeah. Who owns Yum? And all those subsidiaries of Yum.
Well, the first thing that pops into my head, I know is 100% wrong, so I'm not even going to bother.
Say it. You might be right. You never know.
No, it's 100% wrong. I was thinking John C. Reilly. That was the first thing that popped into my head.
Yes. Actor, thespian, and singer, folk singer, John C. Reilly.
Owned by Yum Brands.
Owns Yum Brands. No, it's PepsiCo.
Oh, I thought you were trying to, get me to guess the name of the new CEO because...
No, the company. Oh, no. The CEO doesn't know. It's a publicly traded company, PepsiCo.
Oh, no, I knew that. I just misinterpreted.
That's why, for those who have Habit Burgers in their neck of the woods, they switched from Coke to Pepsi shortly after they got bought by Yum because Pepsi is essentially either free or money laundering where the money is just going back into the same company versus having to pay a fee. Coke.
PepsiCo was involved, but
They also own KFC, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay. I could keep going, but I won't.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about something totally. We were talking about the Game Awards, right? The Game Awards, maybe not. The Game Awards, maybe not celebrating each individual game, but are a celebration of gaming as a whole. Because one thing I noticed.
All right, we're back.
Jeff Keighley. One thing I know, and I was saying Jeff Keighley kind of talks about it as a celebration of gaming. And one thing I did notice is, say what you will about how the show's structured, new versus existing games, announcements versus awards, whatever. It does have a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the game industry. Like this year in particular, it really felt like indies were like the big dogs, and so many of the reveals were indie titles, and they were either from big name devs who are now at their own studios, or big name indies or new indies. And then so many of the nominees this year were indie titles. So much love for Silksong and Hades 2. We saw it with the winners, Claire Obscure sweeping. And it's just interesting because
it even took the
with
best
the
Kojima game category.
It did. Yeah, Kojima didn't seem too thrilled. But yeah, it even if you look at the announcements of what look like major releases from major people who worked at major studios, they're not the studios anymore. A lot of the big games are now indie. We already talked about Bradley the Badger. That's from a guy, David Solani, who used to work at Ubisoft, and another guy, Christian Cantamessa, who, yes, I looked up since we first started talking about the game half an hour ago. He was at Rockstar, and now they're doing this independent thing. The director of Uncharted and Last of Us, he's the one behind Coven of the Chickenfoot. Gang of Dragon is from the Yakuza guy, who's now at his own independent studio. Stupid Never Dies, which is that kind of like No More Heroes / Devil May Cry / whatever you want to call it, action game from a bunch of former Capcom devs who have a new studio that they formed. Although this one's kind of a misnomer because NetEase is funding the studio, but it still kind of counts, right? Order of the Sinking Star, that's by Jonathan Blow, who did Braid. Like, what was that?
Indie just feels like too broad of a term now. Like,
it's broad, but my point is these guys like.
Term, Jason.
I don't know if indie's the right term, but the point is, it seems like we have shifted away from, and even outside the awards. I should mention this too. Going before the awards started, when we were waiting outside, there were a number of protesters advocating for better pay, job security, unionization for developers who are at major publishers. But if you compare that with what was shown and all these major developers and talents who are no longer at these major studios, alongside real indie games like the new Audiosurf sequel. I used to love Audiosurf, or Highguard, as we talked about, which are former EA guys. The thing seems to be that the industry as a whole and the public perception is moving away from publishers being the ones who make games in the eyes of gamers towards actual developers and their talents who make the games. Like when we were when you were reading Nintendo Power or EGM or something, with the exception of like a Kojima type or a Miyamoto type, it would be Acclaim made this game. Activision made that game. Now it's the man who brought you Yakuza is making Gang of the Dragon. Christian Cantamessa of Rockstar is writing Bradley the Badger. Like the Jonathan Blow is a name from Braid that a lot of people know, and that was an indie game that was very successful. Like there's a shift happening. And I feel like the Game Awards, say what you will about how they divide the celebration versus the marketing, whatever, the shift is apparent. And if you're talking about gaming as a whole and the Game Awards looking at what gaming as a whole is doing, it was very apparent at this Game Awards that like indies are the new front runners of the industry. They're the new faces of the industry. They're the ones that gamers are interested in. It doesn't matter if it's by Konami, if it's by Capcom, if it's by whatever. It's shifting towards who are the talent behind it, which is probably long overdue because that's how the film industry works, right? It's how the music industry works. No one's like, if there's a new movie coming out, they're not just like, oh, it's from Warner Brothers, the studio that made Superman. Well, it must be good. It's like, no, it's from director James Gunn, the director of the recent Superman. You know what I mean? So it's kind of gaming maturing into something maybe, or it's not like you go read some music announcement. It's like Interscope Records is coming out with 5 new albums. You're like, oh my God, it's Interscope. They signed The Weeknd or Kendrick or whoever. These albums must be good. No, it's who is on the album that matters. Who's producing the album that matters. So it's gaming's getting there, but I think something like the Game Awards just shines a big light on how that trend is happening, how it's shifting, So even if you don't like how the awards are passed down, you don't feel like the individual games are getting their due, it does seem like the developers are getting their due, which is nice, even through the announcements. So
it's nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. That's an hour's worth of the Game Awards. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about from the Game Awards?
I guess seems like a good time as ever to do the housekeeping.
Well, do we want to talk about Metroid Prime a little?
Oh.
Well, we both have positive impressions.
Real quick, winner of the...
right, we need to do that part.
In last place, Angel, 19 points.
Oh. Thought it did better.
Second place. Oh, no, you pretty much... like threw any chance when you thought that Donkey Kong Bonanza was actually going to win.
Yeah, as much as I love that game too. Yeah, no Angel.
I mean, I can still think what I thought.
Oh, you're absolutely right. But you thought we split it up by who do you want to win, which you wanted Donkey Kong Bonanza. Totally understood. And then you said no, Donkey Kong Bonanza will win.
Punished for having interest.
Well, you could have gotten your easy 2 points.
No, Angel, there's two categories. There's wants and
actually
there's desires and reality. Yeah.
I guess there's like, how bad do I want to win this? I guess next time I'll metagame it.
That's completely the point of the who will win category.
That's why that's why it's a competition. Otherwise, we'd all just say, I don't know.
There was one category that we all
I hope
whiffed.
Welcome Tour wins. Yeah.
There's one category that we all whiffed.
Because obviously it'll make the Game Awards.
Let me guess, Best Direction, because we all thought it wouldn't go Clair Obscur, because we all assumed Clair Obscur wouldn't get, because it's going to get Game of the Year, and thus they would give it as a pity award to something else. And we all got it wrong,
no,
right?
I actually got that one right. The one that we all got wrong
good for
was
you.
Best Art Direction. We all thought that Death
What did that go to,
Stranding
Clair Obscur?
was going to get it. Yeah, it probably went to... I didn't write down the winners. It probably went down to Clair Obscur.
It definitely did.
I will say one fun thing at the Game Awards, you kind of saw it on stage. All the Clair Obscur devs dressed up in French outfit. All of them, not just the ones on stage.
Actually,
there were like 30, 40 of them.
I do have something. I
all in
do
French
have
berets.
something to say about the Game Awards. I thought that you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, go for it.
I need everybody.
Wait. Hold on. Sorry. Who won the points?
Oh,
You said
sorry,
Angel lost, and then you stopped.
And
I
that's the
won
only
by 1
statistic
point.
that mattered.
Yeah, the only thing that matters is Angel lost.
Yeah, Angel got 19 points.
I won
Jason,
last
you
year,
came
so I
up
get
with,
the fine.
with 26, and I won with 27. So literally just.
Oh,
just by
congrats,
one
Kevin.
there. Thanks.
And it's the same thing as the console generations. Whoever was first last generation or last year is now last. Angel won last year. He's last this year, just like PS3
Yeah,
or 2
sure.
to 3, just like Xbox to Xbox. Yeah.
Sure.
Wii to Wii U.
Anyway.
Yeah, I thought that you were going to talk about this. The discourse around Expedition 33 almost sweeping. It didn't sweep. It lost in 2 categories.
To Silk Song and Hades, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember what
categories.
it lost in, but it didn't sweep. So just
Right.
just gotta mark the little asterisk there. But the discourse around, man, no game should ever win 9 awards. We should put a cap on how many like awards a video game could be nominated in. Suck it. Like that's so.
I think you mean a baguette.
That's so like against the spirit of award shows of like, okay, best art direction, we're gonna give it to Split Fiction. It would have been Expedition 33, but it already won 4 awards, and like get out of here. Gamers do not deserve rights, and I will stand. I will stand on my podium. On my steps.
I'm with you on a lot of that. Yeah, on all that. I don't know about the rights. It's nice to have rights, but I'm with you on that. It's as the individual jury members decide what games deserve things. If they themselves try to do like a tit for tat, like, well, I'm going to give Game of the Year Clair Obscur, but I really do love the look and feel of Death Stranding 2, so I'm going to give that best art direction. Like, that's up to each jury member.
Correct.
But ultimately, to put a cap is stupid, because then how do you even enforce the cap?
Correct. Yep.
Do you go top down? Is Game of the Year the first thing everyone picks? Is it the first thing that the nominees are decided for when they're all discussing amongst themselves? Does it go bottom up? So is it like, well, it won best sound, best sound and music, best art direction, best action adventure, or best RPG, and now we can't give it anything else because that's just the first 3 that I happen to talk about. Like, it doesn't. There's no way you could even. Cap it just does. It doesn't make sense.
I love that person on Twitter getting ratioed after saying, like, imagine if a movie won 10 Academy Awards. And it's like, yeah, there's been 2 in the history of the Academy Awards.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah, and then
the if a game is that good,
it deserves
as it seems
it
Clair
deserves
Obscur
its flowers.
is, give it exactly. As I could even use the same phrase. I was gonna say, give it its flowers. Yeah, like let it have its moment. Because here's the thing: none of the other games are any less of a product because they don't have a little sticker on the box that says Game Awards.
Yeah, like
it's, you can enjoy them all the same. They could be your favorite. Like I didn't play a lot of the games at the Game Awards. I only have the Nintendo
Do
perspective.
you ever play any of them?
I'm not mad that Mario Kart World only won Best Racing. Like, that's one of my top games. When we do our Quarantinis next episode, and we do our personal picks for Game of the Year and show and movie and all that jazz that we always do, I'm talking about what I liked, and I have access to all those things. And when you guys talk about what you like, I have access to go see those things. If I wanted to, like, now go, wow, Clair Obscur got 10 awards. That's crazy. Maybe I should build a PC and play it. Like, that's my prerogative, and that's possible because the game's that good and was treated with the respects and flowers it deserved for being that good, you know? Like, you shouldn't arbitrarily cap it. It's not like I can't play the other nominees because they didn't win.
yeah,
It's silly. It's so silly.
I understand like not having your game, win win this.
Like your personal favorite.
Yeah,
but...
I'm sure that Angels like wanted Donkey Kong Bonanza to win. Yeah, and like you can be upset.
Yeah, and you obviously root for your team. Yeah,
but like saying that Donkey Kong Bonanza or Split Fiction or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 should win the Game of the Year award because Expedition quality, 33 already won like 7 other awards. Like, get out of here. You're I honestly think less of you if you think that. Like, I just putting it out there. I think less of you. If you think that.
I mean, despite
I
would have loved to see Bonanza win. Like, I am really happy for Expedition 33. Like, I'm happy that
it's such a cool success story.
Honestly, like,
too.
and then it goes like for any game, I'm trying to think of a year where a game won a bunch of awards. Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto, Elden Ring, maybe. Basically, I'm trying to think of a game.
There hasn't been a sweep
really well
of Claire's scale.
Yeah, but like, there have been years where a lot of the top games in general are games I not only haven't played, but have little to no interest in ever even playing because they're just like very much out of my wheelhouse. But like, I'm still, very happy for them. Like, because, I know they're still quality games. Clair Obscur could have just as easily been in that camp, but I think I heard just the right things to get me to try it. And, I should have some time to, like, dive in and just, like, finish it up just so I can, decide where at least it lands in Angel's macrocosm of quarantines, but we'll see.
Which is also partly why the quarantines aren't coming till next episode. It's late. There are a lot of late in the game games.
Wait,
like,
next episode?
You're still playing Clair Obscur. Metroid Prime 4 just came out. Like, I feel like it's premature for us to
29
today be like, well, our game of the year is blah blah blah. What?
Next episode on the 29th?
What are you saying?
Oh man.
No. What? No, I don't think so. You guys wanted to skip it. I don't think we're doing quarantines till January.
Yeah, but you keep saying we're going to do it on the next episode.
Then we're not having an episode on the 29th. We're skipping it. So it is the next episode in January.
Oh.
I think you misheard, Angel. Yeah. So the discourse surrounding that I think is ridiculous. The discourse around Expedition 33 had a reportedly $10 million budget. Like, how is that indie? Okay, you need to understand what an indie developer is, because clearly, like, you aren't even educated on that. More than anything, the discourse surrounding Expedition 33's wins is what killed me. And then, of course, you have the people like, dude, like, no game is this good. I'm like, no one is saying that this game is, the absolute godly almighty game, the most perfect game of all time. It just happens to be the best game of the year, or as decided by,
as voted on by these jurors.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, gamers don't deserve rights. Gamers just don't deserve rights. Gamers are so stupid. I will say this, and if I offended you, don't care. If I offended you with this, my point stands 100%. It's so annoying.
I was gonna say, it's interesting because, like, when a movie that people don't think deserves to win Best Picture, when an album, especially the Grammys, those are always controversial. What the album of the year is, I don't usually hear the conversation go, well, they got to change the limitations and the rules around the category. Those industries, which are more matured industries in terms of how long they've been around, understand, well, the jurors didn't pick what resonates with me, or the jurors made a bad choice because they're whatever. But it's not about the structure of the awards, it's the opinions of the jurors. And in those fields, in those mediums, people get that. For gaming, it seems like we're still stuck on, well, you got to change the whole award show. It's like, no, just change, if anything, the jurors. Like, if you don't like the jurors, that's one thing. That's their opinions. But
pull a January 6th for the jurors, okay?
Pull a January 6th for jurors. Yeah, just coup the jurors. Yeah,
just try to insurrect the jurors of the Game Awards. That's it.
We do not support violence on this podcast. But if you were to insurrect the jurors, that is on your own volition, and we do not approve.
Yeah. Then just going down.
Just covering our legal ground.
Some
Yeah.
some interesting stuff, like I already said, best art direction that was got. The one that we all got a perfect 3. We actually got 2 that we got perfect 3s on. 3 that we got perfect 3s on, actually.
Okay, I guess best racing, best family game. Even though we all were like, "Oh, it should be Mario." Best racing, best family game, and I don't know what the third. Best action adventure.
Wrong, and wrong. The most anticipated,
Damn.
which we all chose GTA 6. Best RPG, which we all went with Expedition 33, and best score and music, which we all gave to Expedition 33.
And it should still be, and I'm going to stay true to that. Okay, so it should be Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart World, which is full of music from Mario Kart 8. It should be Mario Kart World as nominee, and it would have been amazing. So they had Lenny Kravitz come out to do the best score announcement because he's in 007 First Light, and they revealed him, and then he walked out, and there's this big moment, and he's wearing a very orangey yellow suit. And I was just thinking, like, in some parallel universe, how cool is it that Lenny Kravitz is like, and the best music goes to Mario Kart World, and start playing that like twangy, like Route 66 country music, and then like a bunch of Nintendo developers like saunter up there to the twangy music, and Lenny Kravitz is handing them the award like that. That's a cool alternate reality that we were never given the opportunity to have. So, but Claire Obscure, yeah, I mean, the number they did to open the show was I could see how it won. Yeah,
I was literally listening to the soundtrack before we started recording.
Of Claire or of Mario Kart?
Claire, I listen to the Mario Kart one usually on the way to work.
I love the Mario Kart World music.
Every
I'm so
day
glad they
since
updated the
it
game
came
to
out.
include, like, at least telling you what the tracks are. They just need to go one step further and now let you, like, change the station of the radio and have it be, like, a couple different stations or something. But
Yeah, that soundtrack is incredible. That one I would have had a tough time between Expedition 33 and Mario Kart World for sure, as far as which one I would want it to win. But
Right.
yeah. So that was the Game Awards. So
You know
I
what
get
also-
the bragging rights for next
so-
year. Can't wait to
Congratulations,
just talk
well
about it
deserved.
until the next Game Awards because everybody always forgets about this.
Yep, yeah. Bragging rights that we only remember the second they're gone. Yep. I guess, speaking of music, you know what also has good music, or I was kind of pleasantly surprised by how diverse the music was? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. At least 2 of us have the game. Kevin, you still don't have a Switch 2, do you?
I don't, but can you please enlighten me on the music that they use for those like open worlds with the bike?
No, you mean the Amiibo locked music that maybe isn't Amiibo locked?
Oh, only Nintendo gets to get away with like this.
So it's not actually Amiibo locked. Fake news. No, it's my understanding is you do unlock the music later in the game, but if you want the music sooner in the game, they let you do an Amiibo to get it sooner, which is still not great.
Only
but it's
Nintendo
not
gets
as
away
bad
to
as
get away with it.
yeah, it's not ideal. But no, I was kind of surprised. Like when you're on that bike, like there was like original Metroid music was pretty minimalist. I feel like in the first couple primes, this one has a lot of like choirs and chants, and at one point like an electric guitar, and like it kind of has a little Halo vibes at times. But I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of neat. Like it was more bombastic than I expected it to be, which was cool. But yeah, I'm curious, Angel. So the 2 of us at Metroid Prime 4 on Switch 2. I went in knowing everything Nintendo shared, which admittedly was not very much until like 2 weeks before it came out. But you, Angel, went in totally blind. So I'm curious how far in the game are you? What do you make of it so far? Any surprises? What are your thoughts on Miles? Spelled with a Y, all that. Like where's your head at with Metroid?
Well, I mean, for starters, I've barely interacted with Miles to the point that I don't think I've really formed a full opinion of them. But what little I have interacted with them,
He's not nearly as bad as the previews made him seem.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
regardless, like I was just gonna say that, yeah, regardless of that, I don't mind them. Like they're just fine so far. But like I said, it's like very little. And that being said, to that point when you encounter them, and ignoring the the intro. Like it basically feels more like a continuation of Metroid Prime 3, because Metroid Prime 3 also starts in a, I guess like between like a skirmish between the Federation and Space Pirates, and that one Ridley's involved, and this one Ridley's just nowhere to be seen. Instead, you get Silex, the one of the other hunters from Metroid Prime hunters, and it's cool. It's very familiar. The game looks like gorgeous in 60 frames and on a giant TV, but and then the beginning, like
so you're doing 60 frames 4K,
yeah, and
versus 120 1080.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that the difference is like so small and negligible that it doesn't. Yeah, like you might as well just go 120. But I like doing the 60. Actually, I don't even think my TV has the refresh rate to handle the 120. Now that I think about it, but regardless, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so far it's pretty much exactly what I wanted, which the bar was kind of low. I was just looking forward to for more Metroid Prime. Like, I miss Metroid Prime, but not to the extent that I wanted a new game. It's just been forever since I played it. And yeah, so far it feels like Metroid Prime. That's kind of like the best thing I could say about it. Like that first like jungly world is great to walk around, to scan things, to fire things. I love playing with the motion controls. This takes me back to playing the Metroid Prime games on the Wii. I played them on the GameCube as well, but whenever I played them on the Wii, they just felt so much better. And yeah, just loving every bit of it. Like, I don't put as much pressure on the Prime series for it to be this narratively deep thing. I just want to be Samus and just shoot stuff and turn into Morph Ball. It's like I'm a simple person. Doesn't take much.
There's so many people out there that probably would hear this and just wait for that shoe to drop, because it apparently swerves into a kind of a different vibe in the future as you get further in the game. But I will say, with what I've played, I'm with you. I think it's great. There are hints of it being different than other Metroids. I mean, there's the bike and that whole you did the jungle. Did you do the second section yet?
The jungle is where you run into Miles, so no.
Oh wow, you barely have played. Okay, well, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I went through that first little.
Okay, yeah.
Little like Samus goes unconscious, wakes up in what is clearly an area that was very heavily inspired by a certain thing, and then you keep going.
Are you referencing some of the architectural design and the shapes it makes?
Yeah, like it feels so not subtle that it's almost like
there was someone, without really saying too much.
I honestly don't know.
Without saying too much, I saw some tweet from some crazy Twitter from the same camp of people who probably thought Claire Obscura should have a limit on how many awards it can win. I saw a tweet that was like, "This game is too feminist because of that." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I mean, it stars a woman, but okay, I guess it's too feminist. That is an interesting architectural choice.
Metroid being too feminist?
There's no way.
There's no
Maybe
way.
when we hang out, I'll show you that.
No, of course not. It's the most masculine game in the world starring a woman. Yeah.
Like, how do you... God, gamers don't deserve rights.
Dude, have you seen some of the architectural design when you get to where you first get to the new planet Vuros, or however?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it's so dumb that they're like, well, this is clearly an agenda. It's like, or it's just they made curvy doors.
Or if it is an agenda, it's been Metroid's agenda since day one. God, I hate
since 1986.
I'm done with this podcast.
Yeah.
Wake me up once.
Oh, bye, Kevin. Bye. No, yeah, it's crazy, but I will say the art direction, like that. I remember what I was saying before that, but the art direction is I love how the game looks. It is the best showcase of HDR I have seen on my TV. Like I'm fortunate enough that my TV does HDR, but man, it's so good. Everything looks so good. You can kind of see the geometry is like you could tell it was a Switch 1 game and they kind of moved it up, but that clean geometry works so well in its favor and it looks so crisp and the HDR is so good. And like there's a second without really spoiling anything for you, Angel, the next area you get to has lightning strikes. That's all I'll say. And those lightning strikes in certain part, like the way it lights up parts of the screen, it's so good. This is, I can't think of a time a Nintendo game visually has impressed me as much as Metroid Prime 4 has done. And I think a lot of that's not just obviously the technical know-how of Retro Studios, but the art direction. Whoever decided to make those doors that shape, had a bigger vision as well. The next area you get to, Angel, has a really cool vibe as well. And you're talking about like scanning and stuff, and it feels super Metroid-y in that you learn a lot about that area through the scanning, just like you would in a traditional Metroid. And they gave it a lot of thought and detail into like explaining how things work in that area. And I was very impressed with all of it. What is interesting is as you go further into it, you might be I was surprised by, and I hope you don't consider this a spoiler. Structurally, the game actually kind of feels more like a 3D Zelda than it does a Metroid Prime, which I am cool with. Like I think depending on where you are in that first area, Angel, you might have already heard that there are things you need to get, a number of things you need to get. To kind of like that's the purpose of the game is you're going and collecting different things in different places, and the way that's structured and how
much different from the other Metroid Prime games.
Yeah, but the way you do it and the way you like go out to each different locale and get the thing and then bring it back and it's very, and the way like the desert is set up is it's kind of like a Hyrule field, and the way that the motorcycle is kind of like a revved up Epona, like the whole thing feels kind of Ocarina of Time-ish. Which, from what I've been seeing people say online, like some are like, oh, it's too linear. Like it's very like you go to this dungeon, quote unquote, and you do the thing, then you go back, then you go to the next dungeon, you do the thing, then you go back. And the common thing I've seen people say is it's too linear, or like even within each, if you want to call it dungeon or each place. And this I have noticed, you may have noticed with the Jungle World, it's relatively linear. Like there's some little backtracking, but it's nothing crazy. Like it's pretty straightforward. You're pretty much just going through direct passageways. I love it. I'm cool with the more linear. One of the things that's always been a pitfall for me with like Metroidvania games is I don't like as much of the like circling back or backtracking. So I'm very curious to see as I go into the game further if having to bring the things to Miles is going to get to be a headache or not. Like, is it going to be annoying to keep backtracking? Is it not? But those first two areas I experienced and getting the bike and stuff was very cool. I'm very into it, and it's just visually so cool. But unlike you, I'm actually playing with the Pro controller. I'm not using mouse controls, even though that's how I first demoed it. I'm not using motion controls. I'm doing twin stick, and for the most part, it works pretty well. Have you gotten really to try any of the psychic stuff yet, Angel?
Just the first power you get, but there's like barely anything to it yet. It's basically just slowly trace the line, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple interesting abilities. I do care if I talk about them at all. They're not like really spoilers. It's kind of like just riffs on Samus's existing moveset. Do you mind if I say two small ones you'll get pretty quickly, or would you rather I don't?
I mean, considering I'm so early in the game, I think I'd rather. I mean, I did such a good job of doing a radio blackout. Like, what's the point of?
What I will say,
why spoil things now when I'm actually finding?
Right. I won't specify what they are. What I will say that I thought was kind of interesting, and maybe you feel this way. Did you find the tracing to be kind of a long-winded way to do something that's easier to do without the psychic ability? Like just opening a door, you just open a door, but now you have to like trace a thing, and it takes longer. Did you kind of get that vibe from the tracing? Like, it's like, this seems like a really kind of more meticulous, unnecessary way to just open a door.
It's not like I've used it maybe twice, so I don't think I've thought about it in that way. It's just more like, oh, this is clearly the tutorial version of it. We'll see how we use it later. So, like, if it ends up not changing at all how it's used, then, yeah, like, if it ends up just being, like, this slow tracing thing over and over again, then yeah, we might have.
I mean, for the doors, it can be, but it's interesting that like the psychic abilities, that theme seems kind of prevalent. What I've unlocked so far, without spoiling anything, is like it's a lot of like, oh, I could have done this other way, but now they're having me do it this way instead. I guess okay, like so that was kind of. I'm curious if it evolves into a more meaty addition to the game, or if it's kind of just tracing in different ways, for lack of a better way to put it. So I actually don't know the answer either. I'm just curious to see. But yeah, the game looks gorgeous.
Gotta keep playing. I am no stranger
Mm-hmm.
to enjoying a Metroid game, and people that I know like really disliking that Metroid game. Metroid Dread comes to mind as one of those. Like, I know,
Wait, sorry, what? You know people that don't like Metroid Dread? I thought it was pretty universally well received.
no, some people I can at least name. Well, I'm not gonna name them, obviously, to protect their identity. But yeah, like there are at least like 2 people that I know that like dropped the game because they just didn't like it that much, or that's how much they didn't like it.
Interesting.
But yeah,
Interesting. Well, yeah, I guess we won't have much else to say about Metroid because I don't want to really spoil anything for it. Like, I do want to talk about a bit of the next world, but now I'm holding back. So I think I talked cryptically enough that I didn't really give anything away. But yeah, we'll circle back when we're both further in the game. How about that?
yeah. I mean, the goal would be to beat it before the end of the year. So hopefully
To
that's
see if it
good.
qualifies for a quarantini.
Yeah, it's got some stiff competition, but we'll see. It's possible. Some of the games
And speaking of those
some of the games I think most highly of are the ones that have the real expectations. Like, I honestly didn't really have much expectations for Metroid Prime. I was just happy to be playing one, but I wasn't like, oh
Right.
man, this is gonna be better than Prime 3. Like, I'm just here for a good time. Whatever it wants to give me.
Well, about those quarantinis, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about this episode, we're all going to be back after the new year to give our favorite games, movies, shows, music, what have you, of 2025 in our quarantinis, which are the real. We spent an hour plus talking about the Game Awards, but what really matters are our awards. And those are coming first episode of 2026. So to make sure you out there listening don't miss it, subscribe to us on all your favorite podcast apps. All of them, not just one of them, all of them. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio. We're on YouTube at Ram Nintendo. You can also follow us on Twitter at Ram Nintendo to get updates that way when the episode drops. Individually, we are also on the socials should you want to follow us that way. I am JSR7 on Threads and Twitter. Angel is World of Weros with an S on the end on Instagram, and Kevin is KVN Gomi on Twitter and Blue Sky. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today? I know I already did housekeeping, but I forgot to give you a chance to answer me before.
No.
All right.
I think that'll do it.
Then we'll be back in an undisclosed number of weeks because we don't know either. In the meantime, happy holidays. Have a great new year. And Kevin, you, sir, have the final word.
Man, I have to edit a lot of this podcast. I curse like crazy.